Shalom, shalom, all praises be unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bishim Kakadash, the wellness to the elders and apostles of Great Most of the Ruel, shalom to the hopeful elect. Yeah, I just saw a video, just continue on the Raja Jackson situation that happened. Obviously, you're going to link it into the scriptures. Use this for opportunity to, to bring out the law concerning this situation. Not going to harp on to it too much. But anyways, this gentleman there to the left, he was very passionate. I think that was his homeboy, tried to stop the fight and all of that in the ring. And he went in, man. He said a lot of good points, man. Things that meant sense. He was speaking truth. Even tried to, empathize with him as well and all that. And I believe there was like there was one other so-called white wrestler that had it in for the wrestler that got assaulted, and kind of basically hyped up Raja Jackson to do his dirty work, basically. That's what he was going into. So, there's that as well. There's some conspiracy going around that, or whatever you call it. But anyways, let me get into the law, because they did speak that the guy that was in the hospital was in a coma, something about brain tumors, swollen brain, should I say, bare bruises, and almost his teeth knocked out. That's effed up, man. But anyways, let me see what the scripture says, man. Yeah, we link everything with the scriptures. Okay. And guess what? The Bible has laws on cases of personal injuries. It says that personal injury and fights and stuff like that. So, like, in this society, we have what grievous bodily harm and all that stuff. So, this is Exodus 21. You can read King James Version, NLT, I read NLT. And it says, Exodus 21:12, anyone who assaults and unalives another person must be put to be unalive. So that's straightforward. That's the actual law. Now we know for Yahweh Shai, there is mercy, but we're not supposed to be playing around, man. Because, hey, the Lord can cut short your mercy if you keep playing games. And for example, for adultery, we know that we live in a sinful, adulterous nation, which adultery is what? When a man sleeps with another woman that is already in a relationship, or a woman sleeps with another man, with another man other than her husband. Men can have multiple women as long as those women are only dealing with him. A woman cannot have multiple men. That's adultery. Yeah, so let me say that again. Adultery is when a man sleeps with a woman that already has a man. If he sleeps with multiple women that don't have a man, that's not adultery. But at the same time, you don't want to be in the spirit of, what they call in the world, smash and dash. You're not supposed to be playing games like that. You know what I mean? And adultery for a woman is when she is sleeping with another man that is not her partner. Okay, that's adultery. And according to the scriptures, adultery, if you commit adultery, you're supposed to be unalived as well. I brought that up to say, there's a reason why I brought that up. Yeah, because this day and age is full of wickedness. The environment is wicked. The rulers, who's Esau Edom, the so-called white man, he projects wickedness wherever we go. The TV screens, environment, even the laws. You got laws like no fault adultery, no fault marriages and stuff like that, where people can get scot-free by being, unfaithful, which is wicked, man. So you're essentially promoting disloyalty, no integrity, and whoredom. Yeah, so I brought up just the grace of the Lord, man. If you keep playing games, yeah, the Lord will jack you up. The Lord will F you up. Yeah, so that's why you got to be careful and fear the Lord. Because when we was in our society, because we're still in between the Old Testament and the New Testament. We haven't fully transitioned to the New Testament yet, because we still got these vile bodies and we still commit sin. But if we was in our own society and these abominable, wicked acts were being committed, we would be unalived, man. All of us, man. But anyways, that's the Lord's mercy. Yahweh Shai. Let me read that again. Exodus 21:12. It says, anyone who assaults and unalives another person must be put to be unalived. But if it was simply an accident, now in this case with Roger Jackson, that was attempted, man. That was specific. That was with purpose. That was not an accident. That was with rage, attention, intentions. Now if it was a situation where man was sleeping with your woman, now, to be honest, if man's putting hands on you or unaliving you, according to the scriptures, that is justifiable. Okay, but that wasn't the case, man. It was just a little misunderstanding, blah blah blah, and they apologized afterwards. It should have been shut down from then. His ego got hurt. Probably reading the YouTube comment section, people clowning him, having flashbacks from the past, or his dad mistreating him, blah blah blah, online and stuff like that. Got him more roused, a bit angry, then crashed out. Okay. But if it was simply an accident permitted by the Most High, I will appoint a place of refuge where the slayer can run for safety, a sanctuary location. Yeah. So in other words, we had like a sanctuary location. How can I forget the name? Like a sanctuary fortress location in Israel, where if someone, like, for example, I think there's a law in the scripture that says this. Like, let's say someone was cutting down a tree and accidentally that tree hit someone and that person died. That person can run to a sanctuary because it was an accident. It was non-intentional. Yeah. Anyways, however, if someone deliberately, so the intention being deliberate, that's your intentions to unalive someone, another person, then the slayer must be dragged even from my altar and be put to be unalived. You see, so the Lord don't play no games. Life for life. But this is more this situation, Exodus 21:18. This is like the perfect scenario of what's happened. It says, now suppose two men quarrel. Now, really, wasn't really two men quarreling, because it was one fighting another person. The person was not fighting the other person. But anyways, now suppose two men quarrel, fight, and one hits the other with a stone or fist. Roger Jackson was hailing him. He slammed him, then hailed him with fists. Okay, and the injured person does not become unalive, but is confined to bed. I think they said that he was within a coma, 24 hours. If he is later able to walk outside again, even with a crutch, like you might have a staff or whatever, because you're limping, leg back up and stuff like that. The assailant, the person who hit him, will not be punished, but must compensate his victim for lost wages and provide for his full recovery. So you, in other words, you're gonna be like his life insurance. You're gonna have to pay that bill. You're gonna have to work to make sure that he's all right. Yeah, you're gonna have to pay his bills because you harmed him. So you see, the laws is beautiful because we got the Most High created a system. You know, you break it, you buy it. Okay. So it's gonna come out of your own pocket. Look at it. So that was kind of more fitting for that scenario. You can even go here, verse 22. It's a different scenario, but similar to if people are fighting. Verse 22 says, "Now suppose two men are fighting, and in the process they accidentally strike a pregnant woman, so she gives birth prematurely. If no further injury results, the man who struck the woman must pay the amount of compensation the woman's husband demands, and the judges approve." Yeah. So guess what? The child can come prematurely. The child can face defects. Because remember, the baby is sensitive. The head could be squashed and stuff like that. No, that's sad and that's scary, man. Or the woman herself could be face damages. Yeah. Okay. So that shows you the Lord, the Most High Yahweh Shemashai cares, man, especially for children. But here in this wicked Western world, you know, women are encouraged to unalive children, man. But look, the Lord loves children. Well, you know, the Lord sees the life of children precious. More specifically, the Israelites. So you must pay compensation, and shows you that the man's in charge because it says here, the man who struck the woman must pay the amount of compensation the woman's husband demands, and the judges approve. So it's going to be approved by the husband and the judges, and the judges of Israel are men. Remember this the 70 judges after Moses, the elders men of Israel. Anyways, it says, but if there is further injury, the punishment must match the injury, a life for a life, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a hand for a hand, a foot for a foot, a burn for a burn, a wound for a wound, a bruise for a bruise. You see that? You reap what you sow. Yeah, you get given what you give out. And guess what? When you have these laws, yeah, because people in the world might say, "Seem, oh, this is harsh." Well, guess what? The action you did was harsh. And this is why these laws need to be in place. Because guess what? When these laws are in place, it brings in fear, and fear brings respect. And when there's respect, you're less likely to be disrespectful, and instead be more caring and loving. Yeah, we know things can happen, accidents and blah blah blah, but still, rules needs to be put in place. For example, I spoke about adultery. Yeah, adultery is a big thing because adultery ruins families. It ruins families. It ruins children. Okay, it ruins unity. Okay, it brings confusion, strife, and division. It's a disease, adultery. But let's just say, for example, like now, if there, for example, there was laws like if a woman's committing adultery, sleeping with another man other than you, she's supposed to be unalived. Do you the likelihood of adultery would decrease dramatically? You see, but because it's promoted, yeah, what has happened? Divorce rates have increased. more broken and dysfunctional families, more children uh, are, are living and being raised in dysfunctional uh, hardship families. You see, a mother and a father not being together and the children witnessing that's detrimental to children. You see, but these wicked elites don't give a damn. They want the families to be broken so they're easier to control. That's that's the whole point. But that was really it. I just wanted to bring out the laws and strife because we got see the scriptures has everything. The laws of when people are fighting each other. See? Yeah. Let me read it one more time. In Exodus 21:18, it says, "Now suppose two men quarrel and one hits the other with a stone." So the stone can represent a weapon. You're using a weapon. Or fists, you're doing it, yourself. You could be punching, elbow, headbutting, kicking, whatever. And the injured person does not become unalive but is confined to bed. If he is later able to walk outside again, even with a crutch, the assailant will not be punished but must compensate his victim for lost wages and provide for his full recovery. So his body is hurt. Well, now your pockets need to be hurt. But if you unalive him, you see, the scriptures talks about life for life. That's why we got to be careful, man. Keep your hands to yourself. Scripture says, be peaceful. If it's possible, be peaceful to all men. Amen. Take the L and resolve and move on and don't let ego get the best of you, man. I say that to myself too. I turn the other way, man. I go, yeah, just change directions, cross the road, you know, take a deep breath, get fresh air. If you need to unleash your anger, put gloves on and hey, hit a boxing bag, man. Don't just keep your hands from people. It's easier said than done. You know what I'm saying? But then again, there's going to be a time and situation where you have to defend yourself if you have no option. And guess what? That's your godly right to defend yourself. Or if your family is under attack, your children, come on, you got to do what you got to do, man. But anyways, with that, all praise be to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, B'Shem Kakadash, the one to the elders and apostles of great boast on the Ruel, Shalom to the elect. Shalom.